Hello, we're here today with David Petrucci of Genpact. He's the VP of Business Development for the Manufacturing Analytics. David, if you could just tell us a little bit about what your group does for manufacturing and industrial companies.
Yeah, so it's very simple. We do engineering and analytics work for industrial customers, both on the OEM and operator side. We actually look at all the data that the industrial companies have collected over the years, and we actually run deep analytics over top of that. We do three main things. We look at failure prediction, we look at failure analysis, and we look at component life analysis, and help companies then optimize their operations after we've done that level of analysis for them.
Interesting. Can you talk about a customer success story, maybe in the manufacturing or industrial sector, that would add a little bit more color to that?
Sure. So we do work in oil and gas, we do work in power generation, we do work in the aviation space. And for our power generation companies, we do work where we actually do connection of their assets out in the field on a global basis, out in remote oil fields and elsewhere. And we collect the data for them, and we actually do failure prediction for this customer. So it's an oil and gas, it's actually power generation for an oil and gas customer.
Wow, neat. Failure prediction. Mm-hmm. You've got another major initiative around smart enterprise processes.
Yes.
Can you tell us a little bit about what that is?
Yeah, so smart enterprise processes was something that Genpact was, formerly a GE company, and when we look at how we do things, it's all about Lean and Six Sigma, right? So what we're really good at is looking at processes, decoupling good things out of processes, and then realigning those for enterprise processes. So smart enterprise process is actually the framework of how we do that.
Now, I know Genpact's a fairly sizable company, and you've got a lot of offerings. Another one of your offerings is around the industrial asset optimization. Could you talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, so industrial asset optimization really aligns with a couple of things we already talked about. So it's how we do that deep analytics, okay? And it really then is taking the output of that analytics and driving efficiencies in optimization throughout a customer and even their customers sometimes.
We're here at the ARC Forum in Orlando, Florida, and one of the themes, one of the hot topics is the Internet of Things. Can you talk a little bit about how Genpact would help with that offering?
Yeah, so if you look at the Internet of Things, and it's really about more devices being connected on a global basis. And so if you look at the amount of things that have been connected over even the last 5 years, it's exponential growth. And what's happening is more and more customers or more and more companies out there in the industrial space are gathering information about their assets or their things, right? And what's happening is there's been so much work done on how do we connect and collect this information, right? And there's been less focus on what do we do with that once we have it, right? And this is a struggle that a lot of customers and companies are having right now is what do we do with it and what's the problem we're really trying to solve? And the view of the Internet of Things is really focused at looking at what's the problem we're really trying to solve in the world and at these customers and at these companies. And so that's been a challenge because a lot of people have been so focused on just getting data, just making the connectivity, they've really forgotten about what's the real problem they're trying to solve.
That's interesting. Fascinating information. Thank you for speaking with us today, Dave.
No problem.
We've been speaking with David Petrucci of Genpact. Thank you for listening.